Leo, a teen wizard with more ambition than experience, stood in the center of his tower room, a worn spellbook clutched in his hands. He'd only meant to practice a simple illumination spell, something to light the ancient dusty corners without using a candle. He muttered the incantation, his voice a little shaky, and waved his wand in what he hoped was a confident arc. But magic, especially young magic, doesn't always listen to instructions. Instead of a soft glow, the air crackled. A shower of brilliant gold and crimson sparks erupted, swirling into a blinding vortex of light. Leo stumbled back, shielding his eyes. When the light faded, something small and scaly tumbled onto the stone floor. It shook its head, unfurled two tiny iridescent wings, and blinked a pair of enormous emerald-green eyes. A dragon. A very, very tiny dragon, no bigger than his hand, had just appeared out of thin air. It tilted its head, its gaze fixed directly on him. Leo stared back, his heart hammering against his ribs. This was definitely not in the spellbook. Deep inside his tower, where forgotten scrolls and bubbling potions were his only company, Leo had never encountered anything like this. The little dragon let out a soft chirp and then, with surprising speed, it was off. It wasn't dangerous, or at least it didn't seem to be. It was just incredibly curious. It bounced from a stack of books to a precariously balanced astrolabe, its tiny claws skittering on the wood. It sniffed a row of potion bottles, knocking them over like dominoes. A rainbow of liquids pooled on the floor. It flapped its wings and accidentally swooped too close to a candle, its tail catching the flame. With a surprised puff, a miniature jet of fire shot from its mouth, lighting 3 other candles in quick succession. Leo couldn't help but laugh. The chaos was mesmerizing. He chased after the little creature, trying to gently coax it into his hands. "Hey, easy there, little guy," he called out. But his own untamed magic seemed to be reacting to the dragon's energy. Every time he got close, a fresh burst of harmless, colorful sparks would fizzle from his fingertips, making the dragon even more excited. The room was a whirlwind of flapping wings, scattered parchments, and magical fireworks. The simple illumination spell had turned into an all-night party for one wizard and his unexpected reptilian guest. The next morning, an unfamiliar silence woke Leo. He sat up, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. The tower was quiet. Too quiet. The usual chirps and skittering sounds were gone. He looked around the messy room, a knot of worry tightening in his stomach. The dragon was nowhere to be seen. Had it flown out the window? Had the spell worn off? He felt a pang of disappointment that surprised him. Just as he started to search, the heavy oak door creaked open. There, standing in the doorway, was the dragon. But it wasn't tiny anymore. It was now the size of a cat, its scales shimmering with a deeper, more vibrant color. It trotted toward him, then stopped and let out a huge sneeze. A small, controlled flame burst from its nostrils, singeing the edge of a nearby rug. It had grown. By the next morning, panic began to set in. The dragon had grown again, now reaching Leo's waist. Its tail could knock over a bookshelf with a single, idle flick. Leo knew freaking out wouldn't solve anything. His magic had created this problem, so his magic had to fix it. He grabbed his spellbook, his hands trembling slightly, and flipped through the pages. He wasn't looking for a powerful banishing spell or a shrinking charm. He realized the issue wasn't the dragon itself, but the wild, unstable magic that had created it. He needed control. He found a complex stabilizing incantation, one he'd never dared to try before. Taking a deep breath, he focused all his concentration, not on power, but on balance and calm. He recited the words, his voice steady and clear. A soft, serene blue light flowed from his hands, wrapping around the dragon like a gentle blanket. The creature, which had been pacing restlessly, stopped. It looked at Leo, its big eyes full of understanding. The frantic energy in the room dissipated, replaced by a quiet hum. The dragon's growth halted. It let out a low, contented rumble and settled down beside him, resting its head on his lap, finally at peace. Leo sat there for a long time, stroking the dragon's warm scales. As night fell, he looked out the tower window at the blanket of stars. He had summoned a creature of immense potential, a being of pure, untamed magic. His first instinct had been to contain it, to reverse what he'd done, but now he understood. Some magic isn't meant to be controlled or erased. It's meant to be understood, nurtured, and guided. And in the quiet companionship of his new friend, Leo realized he had just learned the most important lesson of his life.